We've had people in who claim that they can go and find ghosts, and at this point you'd expect me to play the Ghostbusters theme, wouldn't you? Well, I've done that before, so we'll just crack straight on with this instead. In the studio with me, I have two gentlemen who know that they can find the spirits because they say they've already gone and done it. Now, there are a number of groups in the county that we've had in on the programme. Indeed, we went and did a full programme out towards the east of the county when we were over right on the edge of the county, and supposedly we found Mary Queen of Scots. I didn't see anything, but I'm told that she was standing right in front of me by those people that were sensitive to those sorts of things. These guys are, as much as anything else, scientists, and they are Andy Britton and Michael Spooky Mickey York. And I can say Spooky Mickey because it says it on his polo shirt. Gentlemen, good afternoon. From Northampton Spirit Seekers. Now, Spirit Seekers as an organisation, it's fairly new to the county.
Yep, we're probably about 6 months old. Started with just some friends.
Yeah,
and just getting bigger.
Yeah,
good Facebook following and our own website.
So is this something that grew out of each of you being individual, I hesitate to say ghost-busting fans, but that's the easiest way, I suppose, of describing you generically. Is that how it started? Like-minded individuals?
Yeah, I suppose it's a common interest, really.
Yeah.
Are there lots of people in the country and in the county that do this?
Just in this county?
Yeah.
There's a few teams that I know of, but if you actually go like nationwide, you're looking bigger. Go even to America.
America's very big for this.
So.
If it's so big, if there are so many people that are going and chasing spirits, and people who use technology, and we'll come on to technology in a minute because I know you guys do, how come nobody has ever come up with absolutely stonking, concrete evidence of the afterlife and spirits? Because if you can't find it, how can you get people to believe in it?
That's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find evidence of the paranormal. Other people say they found it, but whether you believe it, it's another question, isn't it?
I mean, you can take hundreds and hundreds of pictures, and everyone interprets each picture differently. You can say, "Oh, that's a spirit there," and everyone else say, "Oh, that's some mist," or
well, exactly
anything like that.
If I go and take a photograph of you, I can walk up to you and I can touch you and I can say, "There's a picture, and that's Spooky Mickey, and I've taken a picture of him, and there's the evidence of it."
Yeah.
If you take a picture and you say that's a spirit, neither of us can go up to whatever it was that you took and say, "Oh, yep, there you go, that's Casper the Ghost," or whatever it might be. That's just not going to happen.
No.
And I suppose even though you may say that you've got evidence, people will, in the first instance, try to shoot it down. And you've also got this belief culture. People have got to believe in what you are telling them as being gospel truth, haven't you? Don't you come up against that all the while?
Well, you come up with two sides, don't you, I suppose? Yeah. You get the people that do believe and the people that don't believe. That's all there is.
So the doubting Thomases in that case.
Yes. Well, it's not like you're trying to convince the non-believers. Sometimes probably trying to convince ourselves sometimes in some of the places we go.
I mean, well, that was something else I was going to ask you. If you can't find this evidence, don't you get downhearted? Don't you think, I've spent all this money on all this kit and I've spent all this time and I've got nothing to show for it, I'm going off down the pub. Don't you ever get those days?
There's always a next investigation, the next place to go to.
Yeah. There's always somewhere else to go.
You can find something there.
How close have you got to finding something? Because I'm told that already as a group you reckon you did find something.
Yeah, it's probably the closest we've been, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
Are we allowed to name places?
So, well, give me an area at least.
Okay then.
Well, Delapre.
Oh yeah, down Delapre Way.
Yeah, down that way.
Yeah. Very historic place.
Very historic place. Very.
Lots of you could imagine spirits down in that part of the world.
Yeah.
What did you find?
Well, picked up 2 dogs.
Yeah. Dogs?
Ghost dogs. But then we actually found out afterwards that they were actually behind the actual place. There is a ghost dog cemetery, sorry.
Right, okay, fine. So, hang on, how do you track a dog ghost in that case?
What do you mean, how do you track? We don't have dog biscuits.
Well, how do you find... I mean, number one, how did you find a spirit? And number 2, how did you realise it was a dog, not a human being?
Empath.
Yeah. What's an empath?
Empath. Somebody that actually picks up
feelings
emotions of spirits.
Right, now...
So technically looking... Well, the other word is
clairvoyant.
Clairaudient. Yep.
So somebody walks along and says, I can sense something, and it's a Doberman.
Yeah.
Or
and they get information
given to them.
Yeah.
And also apparently we found, well, we didn't actually look into it, but it was meant to be Mary Bouverie, who was the lady that actually used to live in one part of it, but then moved to the other part years later.
So this is a story, or this was again something that your
No, we
empath
actually picked that up.
We picked her up.
But it was actually, you might sit there saying, oh yes, you might have been told, but me and her didn't actually go in. You actually went for the walk round first, didn't you?
Yeah, when we go on investigations, Andy and our empath, Penny, they don't get told any history of the place.
Right.
So...
But then you might say we try and research it, but we don't.
We don't.
Well, yes.
That's where it comes to, that's where you've got to be honest with it.
People are going to say, okay, well...
Honesty is probably the best thing with this.
Yeah, I mean, you say you haven't told your empath about this, but if you've got well-known characters, and well-known characters that used to inhabit a certain area, it's not unreasonable to expect that if that person is fairly high profile anyway, somebody could say, oh yeah, well, I happen to know that they're down in the Delapre area, or I happen to know that they're in the Althorpe area, or whoever it might be.
Yeah.
Oh, I can sense something, and you can't prove it either way.
Well, she didn't even know the place existed.
Fascinating.
She didn't even know the place. She didn't even know it was there.
We also go to some places that aren't well known, that just have a small history of, maybe one ghost site in there, just one.
Do you sense ghosts, or do you measure them with equipment and technology?
We use equipment as well as
both.
Yeah, I mean, but you can't go and buy a ghost busting machine off the shelf.
Yes, you can.
Get away.
Okay, honestly.
You can go and buy a ghost...
Yep.
Right, so I could go down to an electronics store, I can go and buy a metal detector, and I can then go and say, right, I'll have a ghost busting machine, please.
Well, you wouldn't ask for a ghost busting machine after I know what you're looking for.
What do you have to find then?
An EMF meter.
What's EMF?
Electromagnetic field.
Oh, that takes me back to the days of the fourth form of my physics.
There you go, then you probably made one at school.
Really?
So you can actually make them yourself. There is ways of doing it.
So you're looking for magnetic displacement?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what the thing measures?
The spirit is supposed to give off an electric
electric energy.
Yeah. So
or any sort of energies.
Sorry, I just... You probably understand I'm coming to this from a fairly cynical perspective, but the idea that you can go measure something and yet nobody has yet got concrete evidence of something that is from the afterlife. That's the difficulty, isn't it?
Well, maybe some people have.
You could measure magnetic fields, and you could measure electrical fields, but who's to say that that's from the afterworld? That's the definition, isn't it?
Yeah.
It depends where you are, though. If you're in a field, you shouldn't really...
Well, you shouldn't, you wouldn't be getting any electromagnetic in a field, would you?
Well, I don't know, it depends on what's buried down there.
True.
But that's when you come to start doing your base checks.
Yeah.
So you're doing this on a very scientific basis.
Yeah.
So do you survey areas before you or to go with your...
We do baseline tests before an actual investigation, like temperature, electromagnetic field, things like that, just to So when we do actually do the investigation, if it is different, we can say, right, we know that because we've already done tests before we've gone in.
So it's the credibility in that case of the research work that then goes with the measurements.
Yep.
Yeah.
That, if you like, filter out the rubbish and actually give you something that is a clearer picture from your perspectives.
Yeah.
Have either of you been parts of other groups, or have you started this off from scratch?
Well, started from scratch.
Yeah, we have.
I've been looking probably for... Well, I started like the website and everything in 2007, but trying to find the right people for the actual...
So was there a particular trigger that got you into all of this in the first place?
As in what we've seen?
Well, did you see a ghost, or
you
saw a ghost and thought, hang on, there's something in this?
Yeah. I've seen my grandfather at the end of my bed when I was about 15, 16.
Really?
Yeah.
And that stayed with you ever since?
Yeah. I was into probably different things before that. I've always been into stuff like vampires and anything like that. Supernatural.
Buffy the vampires.
Yeah. Well, probably more like the history of it. Because that's what part of our thing is, a history as well, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's not just... It's the added bonus of having it. You do actually get a history lesson while you're doing it.
And what's the ultimate aim of the Northampton Spirit Seekers as a group? Do you just want to find evidence? Do you want to find the camaraderie of being like-minded and going in search of things? Do you want to find things that nobody has found before? Because, again, the county is rife with all sorts of stories of things that have happened, but, again, nobody's ever been able to prove anything.
No, but then we're probably one of the quietest counties. If you go to some counties, and go like to Derbyshire and stuff like that, they're York. They're just mad for it. There's loads of places.
Really?
Yeah. Every street there's a new location.
Yep.
So the challenge in that case is to find something here in Northamptonshire.
Northamptonshire's a big one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What you mean big as in untapped stories?
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Yeah. I just want to prove that Northampton's more haunted than It's down on paper.
Right, well, the Delapre Abbey, we know, has got ghost dogs because these guys have measured it. Where for you is a good target? And equally, how do people get started? Because I suppose if you're empathetic, if you are empathic, if you're an empath, it's only something that you'll know and find out by personal experience. You can't learn to be an empath, can you?
I think it just comes naturally.
Yeah, I think there's a natural thing with it.
Yeah.
I think everybody's a little bit... Everybody's got something. I think people put things down to, oh, that's not happening.
They try and get a sceptical view of everything.
Yeah, so you've seen a light flicker, haven't you? But you might just put that down, oh, there's something wrong with the electric.
Some people will think, oh, that's a ghost doing that.
I'm fascinated.
So we need to prove that is yes or a no. So
I'm fascinated because there are stories about people having lost their lives in this building in way back in previous times. We did a little bit of an experiment just to go and see if we could find something. And at the time, it was a bit of a laugh. But there were people who were saying, no, there are genuine ghosts in this part of the world. And we don't want to put the fear of of anything into anybody. But at the same time, these stories exist. You've got energy because you're a living, breathing individual. So am I. What does that happen to that? What happens to that energy if energy is something that is simply redeployed into other areas? So there are different ways of looking at it. Yeah. When do you get together, and if people are interested in becoming part of Northampton Spirit Seekers, are they able to do so?
Well, at the moment, we kind of like keep like a small team.
We're like a closed group at the moment.
So how do people find out more about your exploits?
On our website.
On our website, which is www.northamptonspiritseekers.co.uk.
Just like it says on the tin.
Just like it says on the tin. On the back of my T-shirt as well.
And how often do you get out and about?
Maybe 2 or 3 weekends a month. We have a couple of meetings during the month as well.
And you don't look like the Ghostbusters when you go out, even though you've got all the technology and all the rest of it.
No, just a backpack full of food.
Yeah. Good call. How much have you spent on equipment to do this?
A lot of things, like digital cameras. Most people own them anyway, camcorders.
But when you're looking at things, when you're getting like
voice recorders,
SLR cameras, you're looking at anything up to over £1,000.
So there's a bit of an investment to go with it.
Yeah, but
and a belief structure too.
Yeah. But I believe one of the biggest pieces of equipment is yourself anyway.
Yeah, because you can all sense things.
These are spooky guys. But I'm quite prepared to believe that they will have the measurements because, as they said, they do the surveys, they go about it in the right way. If you'd like to find out more, at the moment they are a closed group, but there's no reason why you can't find out what they've been up to, read their reports, find out their exploits, and see where they've been most recently. Andy Britton and Michael York, both part of Northampton Spirit Seekers, and that basically is their website, www.northamptonspiritseekers.co.uk. Guys, lovely to have you in. Good luck. Once you've got some evidence, come back and tell us about it, won't you?
No problem.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much.